Today I wanted to share my enlightenment story. So I did a post yesterday saying that eternal life exists on this plane and that you can actually live forever on this plane if you want to, so long as you live the life of light and attain your enlightenment. So I thought, let me explain. So basically, when I first started my spiritual awakening, I went vegan and I was like waking up spiritually, looking into the soul, the nature of the soul, how we're both masculine and feminine within, and basically I was looking into like soulmates and how to fill yourself and be whole. And I believed that you become whole through finding your other half, like your counterpart, and then you become almost one in the way that you both support each other energetically, and then you're a whole in that sense. And then what happened was I went to this vegan party and I met this guy and started speaking to him about spirituality, and he was telling me that we actually can make ourselves whole through achieving what's called enlightenment. And basically, until we're enlightened, we are always lacking in our energy. We're always lacking in our awareness, in our basically we're out of balance emotionally, and we're in the ego. And when you become enlightened, you go into the soul, and when you're in the ego, you'll always be out of balance, either more in your masculine energy or more in your feminine energy, more in anger or more in desire, more in fear or more in excitation. And he's basically saying that you swing back and forth between these states when you're in your ego or your emotions, and you're out of balance, always going back and forth. You're never just in the center. You're never a perfect balance of masculine and feminine, or you haven't ascended your ego and your emotions and ascended out of your animal consciousness and your lower state to become your highest state and your highest self. When you become your highest self, you become whole or holy, and that is when you attain your Christ consciousness and you become enlightened. And you have to live a certain path, a certain way, a certain lifestyle to actually achieve that. And I now call that the life of light. The guy ended up being my spiritual teacher. He told me he was an enlightened master, and he told me how to become enlightened as well. So when I first met him and when I first learned about all this and learned about enlightenment, I just kind of knew of it from Buddhism. I knew that Buddha was enlightened, and I kind of assumed you might have to be a Buddhist your whole life, or go and live in the mountains and meditate every day, and you have to be really spiritually advanced to become enlightened. And my spiritual teacher, he was like, no, you don't need to be spiritually advanced, you just need to literally live this particular path, walk this path, just like Christ, just like Buddha. They didn't say they didn't really say believe in me and then you can go to heaven. They actually said follow me, as in follow the exact same path I'm living, and you'll be able to experience it for yourself. So we can become Buddhas, we can become Christs. Both of them are the same thing. It both means anointed or enlightened. So he basically said you live this specific path and you can become enlightened too. And he also said just try it and experience it and see for yourself, and then you can know from experience, rather than just believe in me or not believe in me and not trying it at all. And I actually really wanted to try it because I was looking for spiritual upgrades. I was looking to become my highest and best self, especially if I had the opportunity to become a Christ or an ascended enlightened master on this plane. That's what I wanted. So I thought, I don't know if it's true, but I'll try it, because he basically said you can do it for 4 months and then you'll become enlightened after 4 months. So I was like, enlightenment in 4 months? You don't have to be like a yogi in the mountains your whole life. I definitely want to try that. And there's benefits to enlightenment, things like you ascend your egos, you ascend your emotions basically, so you don't experience emotions anymore, you don't experience fear and anxiety. And that was amazing when I attained my enlightenment, the difference, because I used to wake up with full anxiety every single day. I'll be shaking with fear and have no reason. I just felt in such fear. And that's one of the biggest differences I noticed when I became enlightened. That was one of the ways that I could tell when I am and not enlightened, because when I became enlightened, anytime, even like I would never wake up with fear ever again. But then even when I would like have something happen where I'd hear some noise in the house, and usually in the past before I was enlightened I would have jumped and been really fear, it's like I heard the noise but I didn't get it. There was no fear that was there. It wasn't fear, it was almost like alert awareness you just kind of, it's not like you run to dangers with like in a stupid way, like in like a positive, yeah, I run to all dangers because I'm enlightened. It's not like that, but it's more like you're aware, but you're really capable of being able to deal with it, and you don't have fear. Instead, you just have sharp wits about you. You have your intelligence, you're connected to your highest self, you're embodying your highest self and your Christ-like self, so you make the best decisions, and you're not allowing your own energy, emotions or fear to override your decisions, because the fear isn't there. And fear and emotions, they override our decisions. It overtakes us, so we can't think logically or clearly, and we don't make the best decisions. Our emotions aren't our guidance system. Our higher self is our guidance system, and we're meant to ascend out of the emotions, which is out of the animal conscious and animalistic state, up into our highest state, into the angelic state, into our Christ state. Ego versus the soul, we become the soul, and it ascends the emotions completely. So it's not that I have to control my emotions, they just aren't there. That's one of the things of enlightenment, is you ascend out of it, you ascend out the ego, out of the emotions. It changes your body physically, like biochemically. It like balances you internally. Other things are, you don't die, you don't age, you don't die from the hands of man, so only God can get you off this plane. Or you can choose to go through like a meditation or something, but you can live forever if you wanted to. I do believe also though that you have to maintain the life of light. You have to still eat well, you have to still look after yourself, because the vessel, although it can rejuvenate itself forever, if you start ruining it, I personally think even if you are enlightened, it can actually wear it down, where maybe, I don't know, but maybe eternal life isn't forever if you do start not looking after yourself properly, or basically if you lose your enlightenment, then you definitely can't live forever anymore. So the other thing is, because you have attained your Christ consciousness on this plane, when you die you just go straight up to heaven. There's no getting stuck in the cycle of reincarnation. You don't orgasm anymore, you don't have like a big spasm anymore, so it turns off your sex drive as well. So you just see people from like the state of true like unconditional love, rather than like seeing people as beings that you could have sex with and stuff. There's loads and loads of benefits to enlightenment anyway. So the life of light consists of these three main things that you need to do, and it's all about building enough light in your vessel so that you can ascend your kundalini, and you can transmute you can basically transmute Christic energy within into Christ consciousness and become a Christ on this plane. Now, people have had kundalini awakenings, they've had kundalini risings. It's not the same thing, unless you were already living the life of light, in which case it might have enlightened you. People have had experiences of enlightenment, but it doesn't always stay if you aren't living the life of light. So what do I mean by this is, you can ascend your kundalini, and if it goes all the way up to the top, you can have spiritual experiences, you can even experience temporary enlightenment. But if you've not lived the life of light, so you've not built enough light within you, and if you've been eating animals and have animal consciousness in you, it'll just go straight back down again, and you won't hold that light where your Christ consciousness can come in and stay embodied within. So people have like had kundalini experiences but not actually attained their enlightenment, because the enlightenment's meant to stay, but it doesn't stay if you are not living the life of light properly. So the life of light is, first one, you have to be vegan. Second is you have to be clean. And the third one is you have to abstain from orgasm. So you have to be vegan, but this is healthy vegan. You have to at least be whole foods. If you eat raw vegan, you're eating more light because it's got life force energy. So you're actually filling yourself with more light quicker, which will ascend you quicker and make your enlightenment happen quicker. If you're eating animal products or animal consciousness, you're too low in frequency. You have that contamination of the animal consciousness within your vessel. The Christ can't incarnate within you when you've got animals in you. You're trying to ascend out of your animalistic state up into an angelic state. You don't get to that through eating animals. It's counterproductive. You don't get that through consuming animals. It fills your vessel with the wrong energy and light. The Christ energy can't stay within you, so you need to be fully clean from animal products. You need to be clean in terms of when you're eating food, washing your food, washing your hands, washing your utensils. Don't let animals lick your face. clean to not get contaminated from animal products. So eat at fully vegan places, or if you can, just make your own food. Make sure it's all washed so you're not getting parasites and things like that. Do a colon cleanse so you're cleansing out your system so you've got nothing in you from the past, because animal products can get stuck in you for years. You flush yourself out, you clean your vessel. This is what a lot of the religions talk about. Cleanliness is next to godliness. The vessel is the temple of God. If you want to incarnate God within and become a God on this plane, like Christ, like Mary, like Buddha, like Krishna, then this is what you need to do. So you're vegan, you need to be clean, and then you need to abstain from orgasm, which means you're not expelling your life force energy in your seed. So if you hold your life force energy in your seed within, stop orgasming, you're not releasing it or giving it away, then when you're eating well, you're balancing your chemistry, you're eating vegan and you're being clean, you're constantly building up your life force energy, you're balancing and healing your vessel. Eventually, after 4 months, then you can do something that will trigger your kundalini to raise to the top, and then hopefully you should have your enlightenment and it should stay. If it doesn't stay, if you send your kundalini up to the top but then you don't experience the symptoms of being enlightened after, then you haven't been clean enough, or you got contaminated from animal products, or you need to continue to work on healing, balancing and building up your light and your chi. Or hopefully it does stay. It took me, when I first tried it, there's different ways to ascend your kundalini, and I can actually help you with that. I know loads of different ways: spells, plant medicines, different types of food, coffee and things like that, that can ascend your kundalini up to the top and make you enlightened only once I know that you've actually lived a life of light where you're ready for it. But when I did it, I think that I basically had only done it for, I think I'd only eaten well and clean and like cleansed myself out. I maybe only did it for a few months, and then I tried my kundalini ascension and I did become enlightened. So I felt it and I experienced it, and that was big for me because I was able to actually then know that what he was talking about was true, because I was able to actually experience it and feel what it was feeling like, and then actually know that it's not a load of shit, there's actually something to it. Then I lost my enlightenment because you can lose it just as easily as you can gain it if you get contaminated with animal products, things like that. If you orgasm too much afterwards, you lose your light again. If you get contaminated with animal products, you basically contaminate your energy and your consciousness, and the Christ energy just goes straight away. You can't have the Christ energy within if you're having animals within. And then I lost it, so basically, but because I knew it was real, I then would not give up until I actually attained it fully, because I wanted to. I'd had a taste of what enlightenment was like. I wanted to be my highest and best self. I didn't want my fear or anxiety or my negative emotion anymore. I wanted to ascend to my highest spiritual potential. I didn't want to get stuck in the cycle of reincarnation again. All of the reasons. So it was then like my mission to become enlightened and stay enlightened, and it actually ended up taking me 3 years to actually keep it. So 3 years of trying. Had I not experienced it that first time, I don't know whether I would have been able to try at something I never knew was real for 3 years. But something in my soul, there's no way I wasn't trying. I even thought, if I don't become enlightened in this lifetime, I'll never give up trying, at least, because everything you do in this lifetime builds towards your next one. So if you don't become enlightened in this life, everything you've learned, everything you've remembered, the life of light you've been living, you've been building up as like a soul memory, like a muscle memory. So when you go in your next life, you're going to be closer to attaining your enlightenment. So eventually, after 3 years trying, losing it, kept coming enlightened again, then I was losing it, and it was 3 years of battling demons, negative energies cast my way. Because the other thing is, as soon as I became enlightened, I told everyone about it. I wanted everyone to experience it. And then next minute came all the bad energy, all the black magic, all the negative spells people were putting on me because they either didn't believe me, or maybe their soul didn't want me to be enlightened. Maybe they had demons or attachments that didn't want me to become enlightened, and maybe there was demons and attachments around me that was trying to stop me from becoming enlightened, and it stopped me for 3 years. So I had to really fight all of that off as well, and then stopped telling everyone about it while I just carried on trying to become enlightened. And then I thought, I'm not going to speak about it again until I've become enlightened and stay enlightened for at least a year. So it's now been about almost 2 or 3 years that I've been enlightened. And when I became enlightened finally, it was through a spell, and then I stayed enlightened ever since, thank God. And now I feel like If you were interested, I'd love to teach you as well. I've got a course about this actually on my website. I've called it the 12 Rays of Conscious Christmas course, and I literally tell you everything about enlightenment, all about the life of light, hints and tips, how to get there, how to deal with the black magic spells and the negative energy people try and put on you, the spell to become enlightened, a colon cleanse instructions. I've put it all in the course. It's called 12 Rays of Conscious Christmas course, How to Become Enlightened, Christ Consciousness or something like that, on my website that you can purchase. But if you did have any questions, join my Mage Masters group. I've got a subscription group, and we've got a private group chat, and I would love to guide you. It's kind of like group coaching, really. If you felt like you were called to walk the enlightenment path, we do monthly, which means monthly, group calls where we study enlightenment, we study magic. This month on the 5th of March, Wednesday the 5th of March, we're doing how to heal yourself with energy, and how to heal others with energy work. So that'll be fun as well if you wanted to join before then. But yeah, this enlightenment is the same. It's the truth in every single religion, but all the religions have been manipulated and changed to put people off the true path and the true light. If you resonate with this, that's because your soul's probably already been enlightened in past lives, and you're probably here to become an enlightened master again. When you're enlightened, your energy and your light gets amplified by like 13 times the amount of anyone else, like as your previous self, and as anyone who's unenlightened on this plane. You become your godlike state again. It's going to be like you proper up in your game, becoming the most powerful you can, but also the most lightful you can. It's there's no messing around. Like, you officially are one of God's light warriors, and you are holding the light for others. So yeah, any questions, just comment below. Ta-ra.